Need a safe and reliable ride fast? Introducing SuperCab, Jalingo's trusted ride-hailing service from anywhere in the city. We will pick you up right at your doorstep. Book a ride in seconds. Safe, fast and affordable. Visit www.supercab.com.ng or download the SuperCab app today. SuperCab, your ride, your way. Are you stuck in Jalingo late at night? Need a safe and reliable ride fast? Introducing SuperCab, Jalingo's trusted ride-hailing service from anywhere in the city. We will pick you up right at your doorstep. Book a ride in seconds. Safe, fast and affordable. Visit www.supercab.com.ng or download the SuperCab app today. SuperCab, your ride, your way.
Some TV Live. Be informed, be empowered, be unstoppable. And now let's dive straight into tonight's top headline. President Bola Tinubu strengthened diplomatic and economic ties in Brazil. PDP confirms Umar Damagum as substantive national chairman. 3 Taraba lawmakers defect to PDP, shifting state legislature balance. International news. Japan inaugurates first osmotic power plant in Fukuoka. Business news. Investors upbeat as Nigerians' foreign exchange reserve rise. Entertainment news. Vivienne Joseph condemns man who allegedly advised harming her daughter. Sport news. Eric Chelle announces provisional Super Eagles squad for 2026 World Cup qualifiers. I am Bridget James, and now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu arrived in Brasilia, Brazil on Monday to strengthen diplomatic and economic ties with the country. Meeting with Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Tinubu emphasized renewing the historic relationship and expressed readiness to expand cooperation in agriculture, energy, trade, and culture. He emphasized received at Brasilia Air Base by senior Brazilian officials and Nigerian's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu. The visit includes bilateral talk, the signing of memoranda of understanding, and an official ceremony at Planalto Palace, followed by a meeting with the leader of Brazil's National Congress, signaling a commitment to deepen collaboration between the two nations. In domestic politics, the People's Democratic Party has confirmed Umar Damagum as its substantive national chairman. The decision was made during the party's 102nd National Executive Committee meeting on Monday, evaluating Damagum from acting chairman ahead of the National Elective Convention scheduled for November 15 to 16 in Ibadan, Oyo State. PDP's National Legal Advisor, Kamaluddin Ajibade, administered the oath of office. Damagum has led the party in an acting capacity for over a year, and its confirmation is seen as a step towards consolidating leadership and preparing the party for its forthcoming national convention. Further details are expected to follow. Adding to political shift, 3 lawmakers of the Taraba State House of Assembly have defected to the PDP, marking the major shakeup in the state legislature. The defectors are Honorable Umar Adamu of the New Nigerian People's Party, representing Jalingo 1 constituency, Barrister Zachary Sanusi of the NNPP, representing Ibbi constituency, and Honorable Anas Shuaibu of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, representing Karim II constituency. The decision comes at a critical moment for the PDP, especially after the party lost the Karim I constituency to the APC in a recent by-election with the entry of the 3 lawmakers. PDP has further consolidated its dominance in the House, a move political analysts says could redefine the balance of power ahead of the 2027 general election. Party leaders have welcomed the development as a return to the fold that would fortify PDP's legislative agenda. Reactions from opposition parties, including NNPP, APGA, and APC, are still awaited. Meanwhile, residents of Rivers State remains divided as 6-month suspensions of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, and members of the State House of Assembly draws to a close. President Bola Tinubu had suspended democratic institutions in March following the rift between Fubara and Minister Nyesom Wike, appointing Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, as sole administrator. Many projects initiated by Fubara, including major roadworks and school rehabilitation, stalled during the emergency rule, while some stakeholders expect his return to revive stalled development. Others doubt his capacity, saying the political crisis has weakened his influence and slowed governance. Similarly, Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has congratulated Alfred Ebaga on his election as the new Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Emaja representing Makurdi North. He was unanimously elected on Sunday following the resignation of former Speaker Anduna Dajo in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Tasso Kula. Alia pressed the shift's election process, highlighting lawmakers' commitment to democratic principles. He expressed confidence that Enbag leadership would advance legislative benefits in the state and urge collaboration between the assembly, executives, and judiciary. The governor also thanked Dajo for his 2 years of service and pledged continued support for the legislature. Turning to governance and administration, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umar Eno has carried out a minor cabinet reshuffle to enhance governance and advance the Arise agenda. Announced by Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobong Uwa, the reshuffled resigned Captain Inyobong Ekong, retired, to the Ministry of Trade and Investment, while Dr. Obong Iyang takes over as Commissioner for Land and Town Planning. The changes, effective immediately, aim to improve service delivery and accelerate the implementation of key policies under the state's development blueprints. The governor described the move as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the State Executive Council and ensure effective administration. In a related security development, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, called on the African militaries to strengthen joint cyber defense, counter-terrorism, and intelligence sharing to address evolving borderless security threats. Speaking at the inaugural African Chief of Defense Staff Summit in Abuja, he highlighted terrorism, transnational crime, piracy, climate-induced conflict, and cyber welfare as growing challenges. Musa stressed that no nation can face these threats alone and urged operational collaboration and the development of an African defense industrial base. He reaffirms Nigeria's commitment to peacekeeping and regional cooperation. Representing the Minister of Defense, Bello Matawalle, praised Musa and President Bola Tinubu for advancing Africa's defense diplomacy and military preparedness. However, reports indicate that Burkina Faso and Mali skipped a continental military meeting in Nigeria on Monday, highlighting tensions with West African neighbors, along with Niger, which remains under military rule. The two countries withdrew from ECOWAS in January after forming the Alliance of Sahel States to counter persistent jihadist threats. Niger's attended, represented by defense-attached Colonel Major. The Abuja talks gathered senior African military officials to discuss collective strategies and homegrown security solutions. Nigerian's Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, stressed that true security is not achieved in isolation. Cross-border cooperation remains limited despite recent effort as the Sahel nation face ongoing insurgencies. Meanwhile, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bashir Ojulari, he has linked crude oil theft across Africa to specialized international and continental syndicates exploiting security gaps. Speaking on Monday at the opening of the African Chief of Defense Staff Conference in Abuja, Ojulari said oil theft is a sophisticated cross-border crime, not a localized issue. He highlighted that pipeline vandalism and crude thefts in the Niger Delta persist despite security effort, emphasizing the strategic role of security in energy. Ojulari noted that collaboration within the sector has improved the operating environment for the continent's largest oil company. Similarly, the Police Service Commission has raised concern over attempts by vested interests to interfere with its mandate over recruitment, promotion, and discipline in the Nigerian police force. PSC Chairman DIG Hashimu Ogugu, retired, made the disclosure while receiving a presidential delegation led by Special Advisor Hadiza Bala Usman. He cited funding challenges and interference as key obstacles, recommending an independent budgeting system, allowing the Commission to submit expenditure estimates directly to the Presidential under the PSC Act 2001. Bala Usman assured that the Presidency is committed to strengthening the PSC's autonomy and fostering collaboration with the Ministry of Police Affairs. Also addressing law enforcement and justice, the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar, has urged Nigerian Bar Association members to use their legal expertise to promote social justice and national unity. Speaking at the NBA's 2025 Annual General Conference in Enugu, he warned that high litigation costs prevent the poor and vulnerable from accessing justice. The Sultan emphasized the need for lawyers to dismantle barriers to justice and foster an inclusive Nigeria. NBA President Afam Asibe San highlighted the conference theme, Stand Out, Stand Tall, calling on lawyers to uphold integrity, speak against injustice, and make difficult decisions in the nation's and profession's best interests. In the same vein, South African opposition leader Julius Malema has denounced xenophobia, describing it as a betrayal of African unity and a product of poverty. Speaking at the NBA conference, he condemned hostility against Nigerians and other Africans in South Africa, which has resulted in violence, killing, and attack on businesses. Malema pressed Nigerians' historic support for South Africa's anti-apartheid struggle, stressing that the bond must translate into stronger economic collaboration. He urged both nations to harness their natural resources, industries, and cultural strengths to derive African industrialization, while warning against new colonial economic dependency. Meanwhile, protesters disrupted the Nigerian Bar Association's annual General Conference in Enugu on Monday, demanding the release of Bright Ngene, a Labour Party lawmaker serving a 7-year prison sentence. Ngene, representing Enugu South Urban Constituency, was convicted over a community dispute. Those supporters allege political motivation demonstrators they gathered outside the International Conference Center with placards, urging the NBA to defend democracy. Protest leaders Benedict Kachuku called the imprisonment a clear case of injustice and criticized delays in Ngeme's appeal after multiple judges rescued themselves. Security blocked entry, but the peaceful protest continued briefly, raising concern about judicial independence, political influence, and the NBA's role in upholding the rule of law. Shifting focus to education, the federal government, through the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria and the UK-funded Partnership for Learning for All Nigerians, launched a digital portal on Monday to enhance teachers' registration and licensing. Speaking at the Abuja event, Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmed, said the portal will digitalize records and create a credible national database of teachers, improving transparency, professional development access, and accountability. Senior Education Advisor at the British High Commission, Ian Atterfield, highlighted the need for well-trained, motivated teachers and said the UK government will continue supporting Nigeria's education sector through the initiative. Similarly, emphasizing access to knowledge, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Accord Party, Professor Chris Emumolen, has donated a modern library to Lugbe community in the Federal Capital Territory. The facility, named after him, is part of his campaign to expand access to education in undeserved areas. Omumolen described the project as an investment in national development, highlighting that free and accessible libraries help reduce inequality and empower citizens. The center houses over 1 million e-books, databases, maker spaces, and sports and leisure facilities. Guests including former head of service Danladi Kifasi. He commended the gesture while residents pledged to protect and utilize the project. In another crackdown on illegal practices affecting education, the National Commission for Colleges of Education has closed 22 illegal colleges of education in Nigeria. The Commission also audited staff and finances across all 21 federal colleges to strengthen accountability. In this context, President Bola Tinubu, represented by Rakia Ilyasu at the National Open University of Nigeria's convocation, condemned such school as certificate mills, damaging the education system. He reiterated the government's resolve to protect academic integrity, directing agencies including the NUC, NBTE, NCCE, JAM, and NYSC to work together to eliminate illegal institutions and curb certificate forgery within and outside the country. Turning to environmental concern, the Kano State Ministry of Environment and Climate Change has secured the conviction of 4 suspects for illegal tree felling in Sarada Municipal and prosecuted the Kano State Forestry Row by Barrister Bahijat H. Aliu. The defendants, including Jibril Adamu, they were sentenced by His Worship Awalu Yusuf at Normal Land to 3 months imprisonment each, with an option of a 40,000 naira fine and other to pay 50,000 naira compensation for environmental damage. Commissioner Dr. Dairu M. Hashim hailed the ruling as a low-mark decision, stressing that illegal logging threatens afforestation, initiative and clean air, shade and climate resilience in Kano. Meanwhile, the federal government has warned that 9 northern states and 15 communities may face flooding from August 25th to 29, 2025. The alert, issued by the Federal Ministry of Environment's National Flood Early Warning Center and signed by Usman Abdullahi Bokani, identified affected areas including Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara State. Residents along the River Rhine areas from Jeba to Lokoja were advised to evacuate as water level rise. The ministry cited heavy rainfall between August 23rd and 24th as a trigger for potential flooding. In line with urban safety and security measures, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has defended its clampdown on vehicles with tinted glasses permits, citing widespread forgery and linked to criminal activities. During a city-wide sanitation operation, FCTA Director of Security Service, Adamu Gwari, represented by Dr. Peter Oluoji, he said over 700 vehicles had been impounded despite the Inspector General of Police setting October 2025 as the enforcement date. Illegal tins are often used in robberies, he noted. The operation also targeted over 1,000 illegal structures along Green Road 3 in Gwarimpa, leaving indigenous settlements intact. FCTA vowed continued enforcement to improve security, curb crime, and maintain city aesthetics. Addressing local community concern, landlords and residents of Ifesowako, Olaluko, Orare, and Okorin communities in Ilorin West Local Government Area, Kwara State, have opposed the construction of hotels and alcohol joints in their area. Alhaji Abdul Wahab Opoleyeri, chairman of Owe Sowapo and spokesperson for the community, told the news agency of Nigeria that security meeting prompted the protests, citing concern over rising social vices and risks to young people. He added that the communities have formally expressed their displeasure to the hotel owners and alerted the State Police Commands and the State Town Planning Authority to ensure continued peace and safety in the densely populated wards. We'll take a short break now, but don't go anywhere. The major stories, the sharpest insights, and the voices that truly matters are still coming your way, only on Some TV, your gateway to the truth. Please don't go away.
Are you stuck in Jalingo late at night? Need a safe and reliable ride fast? Introducing Supercab, Jalingo's trusted ride-hailing service from anywhere in the city. We will pick you up right at your doorstep. Book a ride in seconds. Safe, fast, and affordable. Visit www.supercab.com.ng or download the Supercab app today. Supercab, your ride, your way.
Welcome back. Let's dive straight into the next big developments. On international news, Japan has inaugurated its first osmotic power plant in Fukuoka, becoming only the second facility of its kind worldwide. The plant is expected to generate approximately 880,000 kilowatt hours of electricity annually, enough to power a desalination facility supplying fresh water to the city and surrounding areas, equivalent to the consumption of about 220 households. Osmotic power harnesses the natural movements of water from a less concentrated solution to a more concentrated one across the semi-permeable membrane. In Fakwawa, fresh water or treated water and seawater are placed on opposite sides of a membrane. As water moves to the settler side, pressure builds driving a turbine connected to a generator to produce electricity, while the first plant of this type opened in 2023 in Mariager, Denmark. The pilot projects have also been carried out in Norway, South Korea, Spain, and Qatar, despite challenges such as energy loss from pumping water and friction across membranes. Technological advances are improving efficiency. Notably, the Japanese plant uses concentrated seawater from this salination brine to enhance the salinity gradients and energy outputs. Consequently, experts see the Fakwawa facility as a promising example of osmotic power's potentials for large-scale energy production, with possible applications in regions like Australia, where Salt Lake and technical expertise could support similar projects. Transitioning to business development, investors are seeing early giants across the Naira, Eurobonds, equities, and fixed income assets, following a rise in Nigeria's foreign exchange reserve. And the data from the Central Bank of Nigeria showed that the country's reserve reached $41.7 billion in August 21st, 2025, marking a $2.13 billion or 5.46% increase from $38.94 billion, recorded on August 22nd, 2022. Analysts attributed the boost to growing investor confidence in Nigerians' Eurobond markets, equity sector, and fixed income instruments. Meanwhile, in entertainment news, netizens reacted with outrage after Vivienne Joseph, wife of popular skit maker Victor Nkubi, publicly identified a man who allegedly advised her to kill her daughter. Mrs. Nkubi shared a photo of the man alongside a screenshot of his message on Instagram, condemning the disturbing and unsolicited advice. The message, urging her to harm the child while she is still young, prompted widespread condemnation online, with users demanding accountability. This incident follows earlier online abuse targeting the family and has drawn thousands of supportive comments defending the child and denouncing the commenter's action. Turning to sports, former Chelsea and Arsenal defender David Luiz faces a cheating scandal following the leak of alleged Instagram messages suggesting a threesome, raising questions about his relationship with fiancée Bruna Loureiro. Luiz's management agency denied any in-person meeting with the woman involved, Carol Cavalcante, and confirmed no record of his stay at the Magna Praia Hotel. Cavalcante claimed the pair exchanged messages online and later released purported screenshots alleging aggressive and inappropriate behavior, though Luiz maintained his commitment to clarifying the fact and defending his reputation. In related football news, Eric Chelle, head coach of Nigerian Super Eagles, has announced a provisional squad of 31 players for the 7th and 8th rounds of the 2026 Federation International de Football Association World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda and South Africa. The team will assemble in Uyo on September 1st ahead of matches scheduled for September 6th in Uyo and September 9 in Bloemfontein, South Africa. The provisional list includes key players such as Stanley Nwabali, Victor Osimhen, Victor Boniface, Williams Tus Efong, Ademola Lookman, Alex Iwobi, and Moses Simon. Chelle would reduce the squad size before training begins, Currently, Nigerians sit third in Group C with 7 points, trailing South Africa and Benin, each with 8 points, making the upcoming fixtures crucial for the team's qualification hopes for the 2026 Federation International the Football Association World Cup. And that's where we wrap up tonight's broadcast. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. As we brought report earlier today, President Bola Tinubu strengthened diplomatic and economic ties in Brazil, while domestically, the People's Democratic Party confirmed Umar Damagong as its substantive national chairman, and 3 Taraba lawmakers defected to the PDP, shifting the balance of the state's legislature. Meanwhile, on the international scene, Japan inaugurated its first osmotic power plant in Fukuoka. In business news, investors showed optimism as Nigerians' foreign exchange reserve rose. Turning to entertainment, Vivian Joseph condemned a man who allegedly advised harming her daughter. Finally, in sport, Eric Chale announced the provisional Super Eagles squad for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Stay with us for more compelling entertainment and breaking updates. Only on Sun TV, I am Bridget James. It's been a privilege sharing tonight with you. From all of us here in the newsroom, we wish you peace to steady your path, progress to foil your dreams, and purpose to light your way. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.
When a tanker bearing fuel falls or an underground pipe bearing fuel bursts, what do? Scooping fuel in your bucket or running far away from impending fire? You have a few seconds to take the wisest decision. Walk away? No, that is not enough. Shift? No, that is not enough. Stay there and gist and take shots with your phone? That is madness. Run. Yes, run away. Yes, your life depends on your action. The flames come suddenly, unexpected but uncontrollable. Why? Fuel is highly inflammable. Why? It just requires a spark to set off a ravaging inferno. So, don't stay there to think. Storm away to live. Do not throw away your life in anguish for meaningless fuel siphoning. Be advised.